Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it. New York, New York.
All right, captains, I'm back to my chipper and better self. Haven't got over some sort of stomach bug that's been going around, but I am back, baby, in the New York, as Frank Sinatra was crooning us to. Thank you very much, captains, for sticking around. This is the next ship in the line, the Tier 4 New York, if you haven't already figured it out yet. We're going to look at everything from the ship stats to commander, which is going to be pretty familiar, but we'll take a look at it anyway. And then we'll take a look at some very good gameplay that is very competitive and comes down to the wire. So let's take a look at everything, shall we? Now, we do have other commanders that we could use, but I'm going to try to keep this as free to play as I possibly can. So William Sims is not a bad choice, even if you had paid for commanders. We're still using him because of the way that he helps with the accuracy with our ships. And Cunningham and Iachino is also going to help with our grouping and overall accuracy. I have not taken the usual accuracy perks because it increases our chances of getting set on fire, and instead of I'm going the exact opposite route and making it a little bit harder for me to get set on fire. Doesn't mean it still won't happen, just means that the likelihood is a little bit less. And the only real accuracy perk that we pick is actually marksmanship. It does slow down our rudder shift a little bit, but at least we still maintain our overall top speed, which isn't that fast, but it's better than nerfing it at this point. Reaching out XXL is always a good perk to have on accuracy battleships like the Americans. And then Fight Fire with Fire is my new favorite legendary perk, especially for battleship players. So I highly recommend you using that as well. The only mod slot we have available is the first, and we're picking the turret rotation. We also have the standard heals with the secondary reload enhanced targeting system. So those are the only two consumables that you have besides your damage cons. On to survivability, a little over 50,000 hit points. We'll look at the armor here in just a little bit. Torpedo damage reduction of 34%, so that's awfully helpful. Onto the main guns, which is the mainstay of this line. You have 10 356 millimeters, so you've gotten a jump from the 305s from the tier below. Firing range is 15.5 kilometers. They reload in a very slow 34.3 seconds, and their 180-degree turn time is almost 38 seconds. But your AP shell maximum damage is a little over 10,000 per shell for every Citadel hit. Onto the AA defense, which is not that great. They reach out to 3.5 kilometers to start, so planes want to hit you, they can, and they will. But we don't go up against a carrier, so don't have to worry about that in this game. Into your maneuverability, the maximum speed, which is stock, is about 21.6 knots. A lot of people like to use the perk that reduces your speed, making you very slow, which I don't use. But turning circle radius is good at 600, 13.1 second rudder shift time, It's a battleship. And speaking of battleship, your concealment, detectability range by sea, 13.2 kilometers. Detectability by air, almost 11. And while firing in smoke, almost 12. So don't stay in smoke. Won't work. I've got about 37 battles in this ship, and I'm about sitting right around 64% win rate. And I mainly play this solo. In the armor, it's still a little light. As you can see with that blue, it coats pretty much the whole ship. However, this little green section is your torpedo bulge, which is what allows you to get that torpedo protection. Your Citadel is right at the waterline, just like it was on the other. But one thing I want to point out with the Citadel is right there in the middle section, it is lightly armored compared to the rest. So plunging fire from a distance smack dab in the middle is the way to hit this thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the New York, and we are on the map Trident, and this is an epicenter game mode. And one thing I need to point out, a couple things, is that I'm in a division with one of my fleet mates in the Nevada, and that Julio Cesare division on the other team, something just kind of told me at the very beginning of this match, before any of the shells started flying, that they were going to be a problem. And I wasn't wrong. So I want you to just keep that in the back of your head, because that's what I was thinking right about this point. And I was letting my division mate know that. And speaking of, he is in the Nevada, like I said, which is the Tier 4 alternate battleship line for the Americans. Not featuring that one just yet, but just to point out that he's in that one compared to me in New York. So you're going to get to see a little bit of a side-by-side comparison. We both do relatively well in this match, so just kind of keep that in mind. Here we got a little bit of a gap, and the Omaha's coming around the corner, and we're able to tag them a little bit. Didn't get a Citadel, but 6K off of the Omaha right off the rip through that itty-bitty gap was nice. Here my div mate shot at the battleship that you can't see just yet, but he told me, hey, I got 2 Citadels on that thing, so if you want to clean him up whenever he comes around the corner, just wanted to let you know. So here I'm spotted, which I'm assuming is from the Königsberg out there. But there's the Ishizuki, which my teammate hit 2 Citadels on. You can see how much health he lost. So we're going to take a shot at him, try and finish him off. And we do so. 3 Citadels later, we get our first blood. Not a dev strike, because he had already gotten a lot of health taken off of him. But still, always nice to get a ship off the board this early in the match. Sitting pretty. And we got a couple of cruisers over here that are staying pretty much right there with us, which is ideal, because I can take these guys on. The one thing I got to be aware of are their torpedoes, but I don't think that they're within the right amount of range yet. Here I could have swore I would have gotten a much better hit. We got 5 overpens, and he was angled, so I must have aimed just a little too high, and those shells don't harm. But had it been just a little bit lower, he would have been dead. There, our fleet mate takes out the Königsberg, and these torpedoes are coming straight for us, and then they die out. So I was a little thankful. That could have been the end of my match right there, but whatever shot at me, I'm assuming it might have been the destroyer as we death strike the Omaha. But that's kind of par for the course. If you're going to sit broadside to a battleship like that in the Omaha, then you're kind of asking for it. So I don't feel as bad. Hopefully he learned a lesson. Don't sit broadside to a battleship and not move and not expect to be deleted. So anyway, as you can see, 4 of the enemy ships have been quickly removed, and I've taken out 2. My div mate's taken out 1, and I don't know who took out the 4th, but we're looking pretty good. So we got a bit of a points lead. Nobody has really been able to take any spots yet in the epicenter, but that's going to be coming here soon. And there's one of those Julios that I was talking to you about earlier. So he's in range. We're going to take a shot at him as soon as we can get all of our guns and let him know that he's not welcome over here. So just as we get our shots lined up, we take it out there. He doesn't see these coming because we're not spotted yet. The back turret we weren't able to get with the rest of our guns, but we shoot him off now. Get a Citadel, and that's going to let him know you don't need to be over in this area, and he wisely starts to turn out and move on. So message received on his end from me. There's the Doogie, the Tier 3 Frenchie, and our div mate takes a shot at the Doogie, doesn't quite finish him off. But there you see that the Julio just got a double strike, and so just to let you know, these guys mean business. I think they were trying to get their Tier 4 premium win, because this was on a Sunday, where most people are playing all the premiums up and down the line to get that first win bonus. And both these guys were in the same ship, the Tier 4 Julio, so that's what I'm assuming was happening. I even may have mentioned that. But now we're sitting at 3 kills, and that Subratzlini, which I think I'm saying that right. I could have butchered it. I've got HE loaded because I was anticipating this push by him, and we almost yeetus deletus him with 4 penetrations. Wasn't quite able to take him out, but boy, did we whittle him down enough for our team to take him out. But then he gets a dev strike in his last dying breaths against our destroyer. So a lot of ships have gone down, and it's only been about 5 minutes into the match. Both of the Julios on their team are the only ones left alive, and it's me and my div mate and a destroyer and another battleship that is left. So we're going to go ahead and start pushing in because I really need us to start getting these caps. Even though at this point it felt like this was kind of a foregone conclusion, but again, in the back of my mind, I was thinking these guys don't seem like bad players. Here I want to point something out. As I shot at this Julio, he does what I do a lot. He stopped and turned out right as he saw those shells coming. So good on him. If he meant to do that, great. If he didn't, then he just got lucky, and sometimes RNG works in his favor. But that was a great turn, a great anticipation of my shot. I do that a lot, and it is annoying, especially to battleship players who have really long reloads where you have to wait in between shots, and if you don't connect with the first salvo, sometimes you can rush the next one. But we're going to try and focus this guy because he is really, really low, and my shells fall short again. It hit him 3 times, but they were all ricochets. So I'm but we need to get the caps, and I'm wondering why my destroyer player is all the way on the edge. He really needs to be pushing inside. The Julios are the only things that are left to really deal with, and I'm realizing at this point that my destroyer player is not somebody that I can rely on to effectively cap. I don't think he's even thinking about the caps. He's probably thinking, let's just take down the rest of these ships. But I'm going to go ahead and push in because now that the island is blocking that Julio and the other one is way outside, not even in my detection ring, I'm going to go ahead and push in because we need these caps. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to get rewarded with not just one assisted cap, but I'm going to pick up all 3 of these with the help of my division mate, which I feel should have been the job of the destroyer. But you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do in order to try and secure the win. And I can't tell you how smart of a play that was as our battleship goes down. So now it goes from a 4v2 to a 3v2. And what do you think's gonna happen with our destroyer? He is chasing down this Julio and open water gunning this Julio. I don't understand it. Why he's doing that, it's not necessary. You're trying to win harder at this point. There as we pick up our high caliber, but the Julio takes out the destroyer. So now it's a 2v2. It's our division versus their division. They've kind of clawed this thing back, with the only downside being that we've taken all 3 of these caps and they weren't able to reset us. But now I'm like, okay, we actually need to be careful here, because even though that Julio is low, he's trying to get away. He's trying to get out of dodge so that he can try to recoup some of his health.
The ship is on fire.
And to his credit, he's going to do that. And I'm trying to communicate to my partner here that, listen, we don't need to chase these guys down. They're the ones that are down right now in score. We have the cap control. All we need to do is just hold this position, angle appropriately, and not throw the game ourselves. There, as we reach out and get a fire against that Julio, which he unfortunately puts out immediately. So he damage conned that, otherwise that would have been his demise. There, the Julio takes a nasty whack off of our div mate, leaving him down to almost nothing. And I'm kind of reading the tea leaves at this point. We got an almost full health Julio here. And the other Julio is down to life support, but so is my battleship division mate in the Nevada. He's down to life support as he picks up his high caliber there. So we both got a high caliber. If you didn't notice, the Julio before picked up his Confederate. So these guys know what they're doing. And there I get a double fire against me. So I immediately put that out. I don't have any more heals left, and at this point I'm like, I'm thinking he's going to come around the corner. If he does, I'm going to have all my shots lined up, ready to really take this guy out. The mistake here on my part, and I think on my division mate's part, was we should have just left. We should have tucked tail and ran, because there's no point in staying in the cap anymore. I'm kind of, I don't have a lot of maneuvering room right here. I'm trying to back up, but as you can see, it takes a long time to stop, back up, and then start again. Unless you're able to get the propulsion mod, which you don't get that option here at Tier 4. It's a really slow, cumbersome vessel to be able to maneuver like this. You have a nice turning circle radius, but you got to be able to utilize it a little bit better than I am right here. But I am trying to stay angled against the Julio that's way out there and anticipating him coming around the corner, but he doesn't do it. He kind of holds up shop. I guess he was waiting for his division mate to recoup a little bit more health and then start to make a final push with the intent of not capping, because at this point it's a little too late for them to cap. I think they realize that. There, he's never moved from that spot. He stayed right there. I'm spotted, which is from the other Julio. There he finally shows up. He did recoup some of that health, so he had a heal left at his disposal. He was trying to set a fire against me. He didn't, which I'm thankful for. But now I'm like, okay, we got to get out of Dodge. This is getting a little too hot, because the Julio that's behind the island behind me is waiting for my division mate to make a mistake. And the other one is trying to get at our broadsides. So I am getting out of Dodge. I'm not sure if all of us can live here, but as soon as these shots come in and my division mate gets taken out, because that's what they were doing, they were trying to get at our broadsides, now it's them versus just me. And I have no choice. I can't take both of them on. If I tried, it would probably be a useless gesture. We would throw the match, and I don't want to do that. So the winning play here is to run and to utilize this big island right here to negate the other Julio from having any shots against me, because I know that he's going to be pushing in now. But if I can get around this island and take him out of the fight, then it's just me and this other Julio. And I'm angled to where the only thing he's going to be able to get is superstructure damage. But it's pretty saturated at this point, so he's not going to be able to get a whole lot left off of me. So now I'm just hoping I can win off score, which we're close to the 1,000 anyway. There we get a really good hit through his superstructure. But it's pretty much down to time. If I can survive, we'll win. If there's no way the Julio can get around the corner in time to be able to take me out. At this point, I'm just trying to survive. So I'm not looking to take them out or kill them. I'm going to let the scoreboard and the caps that I work so hard to get do all the work for me. So as you can see, we're up to 980, and the time is actually really, really short too. So I was just hoping that the Julio that I wasn't seeing would come around that corner. I didn't think he had enough time to be able to do that, but just in case, I was going to just stay right there. So that's how we ended up winning this match. Shouldn't have gone the distance like that, but our teammates didn't exactly do the best either. So we come on top, and GG's to the Julio division. Sorry you were trying to go for your win. You played well. They had 6 kills just by themselves, and we had a good amount of kills between me and my division mate, and both divisions came on top on both teams. So GG's all around. That was the New York. Thank you, captains, for tuning in. Looking at the New Mexico next. So stick around, and we'll get some more good content for you. Until then, this is the USS Endeavor signing off.